Hey everybody, this is the Wild Ass Podcast episode 0. I am Wild Ass Craig, and this episode is just to get one out there into the world for everybody to hear. Now, I'm not sure if profanity filters are going to slow us down with the release, making me change the title or do anything else that just seems ridiculous to me, but as for now, we're just going with it. As for the idea behind the show, it's an idea that's been brewing for quite a while. There are so many great people in this industry, manufacturers, vendors, promoters, and especially the enthusiasts, and I'd like to share with you how it all comes together. The final I need to do this moment came to me last weekend. I had the opportunity to hang out with some real long-distance riders, just some of the guys and the girls that put more miles on in a single trip than most of us get to in a calendar year. The stories they have to share is really what pushed me over the edge in bringing this podcast to life. I've had some previous experience with the Anchor app, so that's what I'm using now. Anchor will just get this out there where we can all listen to it on our favorite podcast apps. You record the episodes into Anchor, and then Anchor sends them out to all of the apps that we use to actually listen to these things. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, you name it, Anchor's supposed to take care of it. So that's why I'm using it. This is the only About Me episode that I plan on doing, as my stories will probably come out through conversation during the episodes moving forward. As for me, I'm a dad to 2 adults, a boy and a girl. My son gave me a grandson quite a while back, and my little girl recently gave me a granddaughter. So yes, that makes me a grandpa. 2 times. I am happily engaged to Renee, who I've been best friends with for over a decade, and with her, I get 2 more adults. I call them my bonus kids, a girl and a boy. Through this, I earned the name Faja. If you're an Austin Powers fan, you've probably heard that term before. That's where the word came from, but we've modified it to fit us. This word's been used around my family for many years in various forms, Faja, Grand Faja, Maja, etc. But when it came to our situation, it was used by one of Renee's kids for me, and it just stuck. In our little world, it's like being their dad, but not being their dad, if that makes any sense. It's like being a regular dad, but more fun. At times, I'm referred to by Faja by all 4 of the kids, which is pretty cool. If you look at my Instagram bio, it actually states father of 2, Faja of 4. With all 4 of the kids being adults, it allows me to be a bit more of an irresponsible adult, and I'm okay with that. The youngest of our 4 still lives at home, which works well when both Renee and I get to travel. Probably the biggest blessing in this blended family is the fact that all 6 of us get along and have a great time at get-togethers. There's no animosity going in any direction. The kids all get along really well and treat both Renee and I with a perfect mix of respect and friendship. On the business side of my life, I'm the owner of Wild Ass Seats, which we launched on the floor of J&P Cycles at Daytona Bike Week in March of 2016. At that time, there was 2 of us, Scott Parman and myself. Scott and I partnered up for this adventure, and due to some health issues, we made a deal in 2019 for me to buy him out. Scott lives in northern Italy, so we used the EICMA motorcycle show in Milan as the backdrop when we did the buyout paperwork in November of that year. I've been steering the ship since then, but not without help. I'm happy to say that Scott is now healthy and doing well. We still stay in contact, and he's always available when I need to make a call. He actually believes that he loves Wild Ass more than I do, so I guess that's an argument that he and I will continue to have. That's a brief rundown of me and my personal life. So now, let's talk about this show. In my travels, I've gotten to see and do some pretty cool stuff, and I've said for years, I just want to be the old guy with a bunch of stories to share. I have a few cool ones that might come to light throughout our future episodes, but for now, like I said, I just need to get some time recorded to get this thing picked up. If you're hearing it, we should be good to go. I'm envisioning posting a new episode every other week. That being said, I've had incredible response from everyone I've asked to come on the show, so we'll see what happens. I might have to post more frequently. I have no intention of this being an exclusively all Harley or long distance only show. Of course, I'll share those stories, but I also want those of adventure riders, maybe a dirt bike rider here or there. Along with longtime riders, I want to talk to those new to the sport. I want to introduce you to some of my industry friends. And I'd like to share with you some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that happens before and during events. My own travels will most likely get in the way of recording and spending a bunch of time editing, which should play into my idea here perfectly. The idea being that I'd like to keep the stories unedited. I want to keep them raw. I want to keep them real. Also, I'm going to try and have conversations with show promoters, industry friends, and other manufacturers. I'm hoping to add a little behind the scenes so you can hear what all happens in getting prepared for these events from behind the curtain, so to speak. Those are my ideas and a general outline of what I'm thinking for this podcast. Bear with me. As we get rolling, embrace the suck with me, and I promise this will get better. I'll never start if I wait until I have it all figured out, so here we go. I'll be back with episode 1 just after the holidays with a great guest, a guy that I met back in 2018 at the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. Not going to tell you who he is, because you'll have to listen. If you don't know who I'm talking about, you'll certainly want to meet with him when you hear the stories he's got to share. For now, I want all of you guys to have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, or whatever it is you're celebrating during this holiday season. Just make sure you celebrate epically. If you like the idea of this podcast, let others know about it and share it. Let's grow this thing together. If you have guests you'd like to hear from, let me know. We'll see if we can't make it happen. If you'd like to come on and share some stories of your own, we can do that too. Just shoot me an email at therealwildass@gmail.com. That's therealwildass@gmail.com. As for the usual stuff, you can find Wild Ass at wild-ass.com. You can always follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook by searching at The Real Wild Ass. To make things easier, I'll be sure I post these episodes there. If you'd like, shoot me a follow personally. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Wild Ass Craig, and on Facebook with the same sign. On that note, thank you for listening to this, the first episode 0 of the Wild Ass Podcast. Hit the subscribe button now, and I'll see you back here in a couple weeks.